Bigo hijab, Bigo hijab, Bigo. You wear it for Allah. Hijab, Bigo hijab, Bigo hijab, Bigo. You wear it for Allah. HIJAB.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, welcome to Youth Frequency. Welcoming to studio. Gosh, the weather just changed. Yeah, that was a downpour, but alhamdulillah, everyone is safe and we still have lovely weather even though we complain. Well, this evening, we have a topic that has been on everyone's lips. It's been on social media and everyone has been talking about it, not only in South Africa, but also around the world. And, it's a topic which is very sensitive. Everyone has their different views and opinions. Our topic is Borders or Brotherhood, the youth speaks. South Africa is once again at the center of the heated debates about foreigners, undocumented immigrants, crime, unemployment, and xenophobia. Yes, social media is flooded with opinions, communities are divided, and emotions are running quite high. But where do young people stand? What are their views? What do they feel? Are foreigners really the problem, or are they being blamed for deeper issues? How do we protect our borders while protecting our humanity? Well, this evening on Youth Frequency, we're keeping it real as we unpack immigration, racism, tolerance, misinformation, and what it means to build a united South Africa. So recent protests and immigration tensions have renewed these debates across the country, with many claims about jobs and crime being disputed by available evidence. Wow, that's a mouthful when you sit and you think, where do I start? What's really happening? What's going on? Well, our guest in studio is Harlan, and our panel, our regular co-host is Jamie and Liam. Yes. Woo! How are you guys doing?
We're good, and you? How are you, Sumaya?
I'm on holiday. I'm very good.
Must be nice.
Don't be jealous.
That's something they never prepare you for. Hey, once you start becoming a young person who has a job, and when you start working, there's no more school holidays, there's no more university holidays.
But you know what? Unfortunately, for the rest of my retirement, I'll be going to school. Oh. So the school shoes will be out. Yeah. And then when you're going back to school, we also suffer from that depression.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Plus,
we also can't find our school bag.
I still can't find mine. I use it quite often.
You can't find yours. Guys, on a serious note, there's so much happening around us as South Africans. Friends and family overseas, over the border, have such negative comments about South Africa right now. Did you see those reels where people were holidaying in Mozambique and they were told to go home? They were like hushed out of a restaurant. No. And there were guys in Nigeria who own some, I think it was a cell phone shop. They were told to leave. Now it's getting a bit out of hand, So what comes to mind when, you guys, the youth and your counterparts, hear the word foreigner? Foreigner, what comes to your mind? I mean, instantly.
I think the word has changed in so many ways. The actual meaning of the word just means someone from a foreign land, someone who's foreign. But I think in South Africa, or just in recent times, it has a very negative context, especially with the way people say it, with a certain oomph in their voice. But a foreigner is just someone who's from a foreign land.
So that's the way the youth look at it.
Yeah. Maybe not. I can't speak for all youth, but I can speak for myself. But I would say a foreigner is definitely someone who's not from South Africa.
100%.
Yeah. I think there's also a very interesting intersection there too that we need to also unpack. Is that it's funny how you call anyone who is black or of color in South Africa a foreigner, but any white foreigner is now a tourist. There's a very interesting intersection there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like we use the word colored all the time. If I was in America or another country, it would be like I can go to jail because they refer to it as mixed race. Yeah, but sometimes when you know the connotation and what people are really trying to tell you in a nasty way, it's very sensitive.
No, 100%.
Yeah. Do you know, South Africa is becoming more xenophobic. Harlan, you are with the youth, you are involved with the youth. What would you say? Is it just for the older folks, or those who are born in the apartheid, as some of the youth say, or it is just something general?
Okay, so you're referring to how us as the youth
Yeah.
view it. Well, I mean, I can't speak for all youth because as much as we have different perspectives on it, it can both be negative and positive on how we view the situation. But I mean, because it's funny because yesterday I was having a chat with my young adults group in my church, and the perspectives that I was getting from them is that we are human first,
Yeah.
100%. And with what my faith teaches us, it's that love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, forgive. What one of the things is forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So it's about forgiveness and understanding. I feel like that's the forefront. But like I said,
And when you think about it, like all religions, like even Islam and I think Hinduism and other faiths, they tell you first, check on your neighbor.
Yeah.
100%.
And charity begins at home.
Absolutely.
But the way the world's going, it's like we want to do things out, but not at home.
Yeah.
And during COVID, that was an eye-opener,
Yeah.
where so many of the elderly and those people never even knew their neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, you recall during the riots, we had no bread
Yes.
and stuff, and whoever got bread were like giving everyone, and so many people, when they were interviewed, they said they never knew they had neighbors,
Yeah.
because the way the world is today, how many
so
of us really talk?
isolated.
Exactly.
So
Focus on our
isolated.
own.
And even if you tend to be friendly and greet a neighbor over the fence or the complex
Yeah.
where you stay, you come across as being forward, rude, or there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've become accustomed to just mind our own business.
I
at the end of the
think
day.
I think
Yeah.
we've lost the idea of the village. We
Yeah.
now live in our own little systems, in our own little cubicles, and
True.
it's the way the modern world is sort of shaping the family unit and the village at large.
Hmm.
Everyone wants to have a village behind them, but no one wants to be a villager. You know?
Yeah.
Ubuntu. That's about Ubuntu.
Doesn't, yeah, that's so true. You know, are immigrants taking jobs, or is the problem bigger than that, Jamie? Now, when we refer to immigrants, we talking about anyone, whether they're
Yeah.
white, black, yellow, orange.
So I think, with this topic in general, it's so important for us to do justice and to acknowledge that everybody has their own set opinion and their own feelings of this and their own understanding, which is perfectly fine. But from my understanding, and we spoke about it at length on the show, specifically in South
Yeah.
Africa, unemployment has been a problem for us. And a lot of what I see from people who are from foreign countries and the jobs that they have in this country, not all of them, but a lot of them are jobs that they've created for themselves, which I've also spoken about in length on the show, that I will always encourage people of South Africa and the youth to pave a path for themselves, to make their own thing, do your own business. It can be something small
Yeah.
and simple. Yes, our country doesn't do the
You
best at
always
giving
say
us
this.
jobs, yes, but like we can create it for ourselves. So with regards to that question, me personally, I don't see it like that, because I see people who have come here, well, regardless of the specifics of the situation, but they've tried to make a path for themselves, and that's how I see the job situation. Obviously not all of them, but a good few of them have made businesses for themselves.
Do you know, while chatting to me, a message came through. Why did the South African government only now decide at the last minute to take such harsh rulings and the citizens to act on? Why didn't they do it in the last 30 years or 20 years? That's something.
I
makes you
wanted
think.
to actually speak about that, the delay in reaction from government.
And then hardcore one time.
Yeah, I think they only reacted in that way when it affected their personal interests.
100%.
So I believe, and let's put our shiny tinfoil hats on together. Let's get into a lovely conspiracy theory. I love conspiracies. But I genuinely believe that the issue of foreign or illegal immigration and the theft of jobs, or immigration and the theft of jobs, is a symptom of a larger problem. And obviously you feel the symptoms, you don't necessarily feel the problem. When you have the flu, you don't know you have the flu because you have the flu. You know because you have a fever, or you
Yeah.
have a scratchy throat or a runny nose. And yes, it is good to combat the scratchy throat and the runny nose, but you need to get the antibiotics in that attack the flu virus.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the flu that South Africa is plagued with is corruption.
Yeah.
Corruption. I wish we could take the energy that we had, and I do believe that it's possible. We can take the energy that we had for what happened in the past couple of weeks and apply it to government, especially in terms of corruption. I mean, look at that Tembisa hospital scandal. 2 billion.
Billions.
2 billion. And I genuinely believe that it only became an issue to government once it started affecting business as usual. The everyday
Exactly.
CBDs and
Exactly. One of the guys or the ladies who are being questioned, I'm not going to mention who or what. Currently, it's a case that's been carrying on for quite a while. 63 million rand for a house.
Oh, and I know which commission you're talking about. Yeah, no, I get angry when I watch that.
And I'm
thing.
wondering, 63 million rand for a house. And then they say, no, it had a jacuzzi, it had this, it had that. And how calm and cool they are. So I like what you said coming from a younger person. Just like how hardcore they are getting rid of the foreigners, why don't they clean up corruption?
I think it's also easy to say why, and especially we also have to acknowledge that a lot of us sitting in this room come from a more privileged situation.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a car in your driveway, if you have more than one car in your driveway, you also become somewhat far removed from the issue itself. We have that cushioning of maybe not being the poorest of the poor people and being directly affected by these things. And remember the pains that and the failures of society in terms of the government, and that is genuinely felt by the poor first, and then it'll trickle up through the middle class, and only when it starts to affect those higher up do people start to really want to care and sort of theorize around it and get intellectual around it and sort of virtue signal those who are trying to take action. So I think it's a very multi-dimensional topic. It's not so straightforward, and it's not full of black or white. We should also be wary not to create any false binaries around the subject.
Do you know vigilantism, right? You see they're going and chasing people, but the police are with them even when they're being. We're looking at humanity first, where they're whooping someone or destroying someone's store or something, and the police is right there. And these reels, these videos are sent around the world.
I definitely think it's a bad display for South Africa,
100%.
first and foremost. Especially in terms of the vigilantism. And I don't condone vigilantism in any way. I think there is a need for government processes and systems to follow through and take place. But we can also try and not rationalize the situation, but try and understand a little bit more why people are acting like this is, because more often than not, government processes and systems don't take place until a hand is forced. And when you become so frustrated to the point that you feel that you don't have any other choice, and this is not to excuse any bad behavior or vigilantism, people will start to act out. It's human nature. It's you back anyone into a corner where they don't have any options, and the only way is to fight outwards.
Survival instinct.
Yeah.
Exactly. But these are our views and opinions, right? We say that the current immigration debate is really about crime and jobs. That's the main thing in South Africa, we say. Or, since you love conspiracies, is it political? That's something which recently has been cropping up.
I want to speak again, but I want to give other people
it's fine. These are our views and opinions.
I won't give the specifics on who, what, and where.
Yeah.
But I'll speak a little bit out of something I read. I believe, let me shine my shiny tinfoil hat again. I'm just adjusting it here on mic. I genuinely believe that there are agendas of the Western world being pushed because of some of the things that South Africa has done in the not so distant past to highlight humanitarian crises globally. And when you call people to action, sometimes they may not necessarily enjoy that. This could be a retaliation act because of that. I mean, look at 2 countries in the world. Maybe people will be able to read between the lines here, but 2 countries in the world are facing similar problems in terms of this xenophobia: is Ireland and South Africa.
Yeah.
if you look at their histories, you'll see their allegiances and you'll understand and you'll be able to put two and two together. I know I'm speaking coded, but my shiny tinfoil hat is on right now.
No, but it's nice for the youth and everybody to educate themselves. Just don't be sheep.
Yes.
And South Africans got that habit. We sheep.
I think everyone in the online platform can be sheep, because propaganda, when it's thrown your way, is so easy to consume. 100%. People don't fall for propaganda because it's just something that people fall. It's convenient. It aligns with maybe a pain point that you may be experiencing in your life. It aligns with your biases, and it makes you feel maybe the victim in some sort of way. I mean, you look at 1939 Germany and what led up before that. There was propaganda at play there, and they blamed the Jewish people for everything that was wrong in Germany, and that's how we got the Holocaust. Propaganda aligned with the people's views at the time, and it resulted in an atrocity being happening. So I think there's a lot of influence from the Western world. A lot of Western agendas. I read an article that spoke about the fracture of Africa and how it starts with South Africa. And I mean, if we are to call it and just continue down that line, I think there genuinely is a race to fracture South Africa into its space and maybe even separate the Western Cape from Southern Africa, but we won't get into that too much. But I genuinely do believe there's an external political force at hand.
It's like, let's weaken the strongest country in Africa, and then once we weaken them and get them to fight with each other, they have more power. And if you look at Africa, we're so rich in so much of things.
Resources, culture.
Exactly.
People. I mean, to fracture a country which has had like the best PR for the longest run, they knew that the cyber attacks would be the main way to get in. I mean, you look at our new Minister of education.
Basic education.
Basic education, but for high school, right? Or is it all over?
Higher education is like universities.
No. What's the one? Isn't he for high schools and stuff like that? It was overall. Oh, okay, he's the new minister overall for basic education.
So you have our lady, Siziwe.
Yes.
She was 33 when she became the minister of education.
Wow.
And I think he's also
youth.
Yeah. And he's also in his mid-30s. But when you study and look at him, this dude was in parliament.
Yeah, for long.
I mean, he was like a chair for his SRC, and
hasn't he been there like, I think 5 to 15 years. I'm not too sure. It's between that time
when he was from his 20s. So sometimes we need to do our homework before we act out.
No, 100%. But why I brought that up is there's this issue of now Islamophobia in internet comments. Now, when you look at where these comments are coming from, it's saying it's from within South Africa. Now, if you look at social media, normally when you're looking at a region for comments, it'll say South Africa. But what happens is there's a shield with an exclamation mark next to it, which actually signifies that it could have been a VPN, which is a private network, which allows you to change your location, or your what's the thing
like
that you
IP
change?
address?
Your IP address basically changes your IP address and makes it look like you're from other countries.
Yeah.
So they were saying that there's an actual, I forgot what it was, one of these security companies said there's a definite cyber attack on South Africa, and I think this is propaganda that's being pushed to sort of disenfranchise and make the world become disillusioned with South Africa.
When you think about it overall, no matter what we have been through, South Africa was never ever xenophobic. And there was no against any religion, no extremist. Right? We had that 1-to odds. But this never exists, and all of a sudden this is we hardcore xenophobic. So again, what social media takes out. Monday will be taking a short ad break.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbana amanna bima anzalta wattaba'na ar-rasula faktubna ma'ash shahidin.
This segment is brought to you by Kenfield Auto, your RMI approved service and repair specialist. 236 Brickfield Road, Overport.
Kenfield Auto.
Car won't start?
Kenfield Auto.
Noisy brakes?
Kenfield Auto.
Due for a service?
Kenfield Auto.
Kenfield Auto. The answer to all your car problems. Your service and repair specialist for your VW, Audi, Suzuki, Toyota, or just about any vehicle. Kenfield Auto, your RMI and insurance approved workshop. Follow the red and white board in the passage at 236 Brickfield Road, Overport. Call Shafi on 031 207 2399. Kenfield Auto.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Fatima Kareem from Community Buzz. One of the highlights of Women's Month is almost here, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Join us at Her Mask, Her Story, a beautiful gathering of sisters filled with inspiration, heartfelt conversations, delicious food, fun, and wonderful surprises. Tickets are just 300 Rand, so don't miss out. Book yours today by calling Al Ansar Outreach on 031 208 1601. Let's make this day a day to remember, inshallah.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
In South Africa, countless numbers of sick patients leave their homes at the crack of dawn to join long queues at clinics and public hospitals, many of them suffering pangs of hunger in addition to the symptoms of disease. The Al Imdad Foundation's Slice for Life teams deliver sandwiches to these patients at more than 40 hospitals and clinics across the country. Help us to keep on relieving hunger. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم حرر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المرابطين على أرض فلسطين. اللهم شد أزرهم وسدد رميهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم الطف بإخواننا في كل مكان يذكر فيه اسمك يا أرحم الراحمين. استنصروك يا الله. الفقراء والمساكين والأيتام والنازحين والمشردين والأسرى يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم أنج المستضعفين من المسلمين في فلسطين. اللهم كن لهم عونا ونصيرا. اللهم كن لإخواننا المرابطين في المسجد الأقصى. اللهم كن لهم ولا تكن عليهم. اللهم فرج همهم، نفس كربهم، داوي جرحاهم، عاف مبتلاهم، اشف مرضاهم، ارحم موتاهم، تقبل شهداءهم.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Al Ansar.
If you wanna look amazing, lady, you know what you got.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Youth Frequency. We have a really hot, sensitive topic with opinions, debates. Your views, what you feel, you have a right. We want to know what the youth feels. So, our topic this evening, we are talking about brotherhood. We are talking about what's currently happening. Manli, can you play the video?
For a lot of these political parties, because their voter base intrinsically holds certain xenophobic beliefs, they do not want to speak out against that because immigrants can't vote. And it does not benefit these political parties to talk about and defend a group of people who will not benefit them in the long run. And I think specifically for me, I defend South Africa and South Africans at all costs. I love this country, but it is deeply disturbing the increase of xenophobia in this country and xenophobic attacks. You hear stories of how mothers are getting pulled out in clinic lines trying to get their babies vaccinated. And I think it is really easy to scapegoat immigrants because they cannot vote, because they are a demographic in South Africa that is largely underrepresented politically. And it is really easy for South Africans to scapegoat the problems of the political establishment onto a minority group of individuals. And I do not think that that is okay. I think specifically looking at the narrative that is happening on Twitter, looking at the narrative that is within Operation Dudula, I think that it is extremely concerning that these people are coming out and portraying themselves as patriotic South Africans. You are not patriotic, you are violating the Constitution. Section 27 guarantees the right to health for everyone in South Africa. That's also affirmed by the Public Health Act and the Refugee Act. And Section 29 affirms education for all. And I think specifically when it comes to kids, like my heart breaks. I watched this interview on Newsroom Africa about a mother talking about how she was waiting in line to get her baby vaccinated and she was pulled out, and she had gone for about a month straight and she couldn't get her 7-month-old baby vaccinated because she was getting pulled out of the line. And I think what these South Africans do not realize is that they have more in common with that immigrant mother trying to get her baby vaccinated in that clinic line than they do with the politicians trying to push this propaganda.
Well, Liam, you said it, propaganda. Yeah, and these are comments from the youth, our youth leaders who are speaking about it. Harlan, you mentioned Ubuntu. What does Ubuntu means to you today in South Africa? Does it still apply for foreigners, or it's only for us South Africans?
Like I said, I feel it stands for everyone as long as you are human. I mean, look, I may not know the background of everything in terms of why immigrants came here or so forth, but I do know that every voice needs to be heard and your reason is valid, because at the end of the day you are human. Underneath our skin it's all blood, it's the same color, so we shouldn't discriminate just because who you are, where you come from. You need to be heard, your story is valid.
Jamie, you always talk about mental health. Are we becoming a nation that reacts emotionally instead of thinking critically about complex issues, just like what's happening right now?
I think the world for a long time has not operated in thinking critically in many ways, and in a lot of ways the world has responded with and not just any emotions. Emotions doesn't have to be bad, but when you now are reacting with brutal emotion and brutal action, then now that's when it becomes a problem. Emotion in itself is not necessarily bad.
Yeah. Amongst the youth and just everyone out there, how do we separate undocumented immigration from xenophobia without confusing the two? Because lots of people are confusing all of it.
Could you repeat the question there?
Well, when you think about it, right, how do we separate undocumented immigration from xenophobia without confusing the two?
I think we got to eliminate the element of vigilantism first. Also, we as the people are not the authority who can just go up to someone and impede on their freedoms and their personal human rights, just out of the convenience of us wanting to check if this person is not documented properly or whatever. I think we do need to let the systems and processes take place. We also need to apply pressure to government and leadership to make those systems and processes go and take place. I like what that analyst said in the video there, in terms of scapegoating. In a lot of ways, people have scapegoated a minority group. I think it's also not wrong to want to, like any nation in this world, enforce borders. I also find it a bit disingenuous when remarks from countries or Europeans condemning the actions of anti-illegal immigration, when they make these remarks condemning our anti-illegal immigration approach in South Africa, when their borders are as airtight as possible, and they suffer the same sicknesses in terms of their intolerance for not even just illegal immigrants, but foreign nationals in a lot of ways. My personal experience going over to overseas into Europe, I got my visa done. To get my visa to get into to Italy, and that you have to supply where you're going to be staying every time, like every day that you'll be there. You need a letter from those people who'll be hosting you to say, I got my visa done. When I got to passport control, they let everyone through and they stopped me, maybe because of my appearance.
Because you colored.
Yeah, probably. And
mixed race.
The border guard was quite rude, actually. Extremely rude. I wish I could have fought him or something, but I'm not going to go overseas and fight. And I don't promote violence, guys. Don't fight people. Psht. But anyway, he questioned me and he's like, nah, I need to see where you're staying. Tell me where you're staying. Show me the notes. And I'm like, I have a visa. In order to get this visa, I have to have these certain things. It's in the visa. He's like, no, I want to see the letter. Anyway, one of my friends I was traveling with managed to pull it up, and then I showed him and carried on about my day. But I thought it's so funny hearing these people, cast stones at South Africa or condemn us when they suffer the same symptoms. Look at Bafana had to travel from Tijuana in Mexico to go play games because they weren't allowed access, or some teams, I think it was Iran, who wasn't allowed access into the US. Please.
When you think about it, right, our leaders should be examples, but they're acting like, bullies.
100%.
They're acting like bullies. Harlem, have social media and politicians increased division?
I believe, as...
These are your views.
Okay. Look, personally, as a youth, I don't like to get too much involved with politics because, like how we were talking about not too long ago, we tend to focus on our own business, but it only becomes a problem when
it affects us.
Yeah. So for the longest time, because like my parents, especially my father, he watches all about the stuff, and I'm like, I don't worry about it because it's gonna put stress on me and so forth. But in the long run, it has impacted our country and our youth negatively. But social media, though, because on social media people are more open to talk about their views freely, so obviously it does increase the tension to the situation. But personally, for me as a youth, I don't go into those territories. I tend to focus on my areas of which interest me.
But that's every South African. They say not your circus, not your monkeys. It doesn't affect you, but only when it affects you. Then we want to act. Moni, can you play the other voice note?
Because it's the only country that I know. I've never been to any other country, but so it's gonna be something new for me.
This student has to leave South Africa, even though she grew up here and considers this country her home. She has never lived anywhere else, but her parents are migrants from Zimbabwe, and xenophobic attacks pushed her family to leave.
It feels like I lost my future because I studied here. I matriculated last year, then I got a bachelor's degree pass, so I feel like I lost everything.
What happens when a child is born in South Africa, grows up in South Africa, goes to school in South Africa, but is not considered South African? It's a question thousands of children born to migrant parents may one day have to answer. For Lorraine Nsube, that moment has arrived. She is heading to a country she has never known. Her story reflects a wider challenge facing some children of migrants who have built their entire lives in South Africa.
I really wanted to go to one of the universities in South Africa, but it's very sad because I will be leaving. So I feel like I lost hope. It's very sad.
Well, that's so touching. That's so sad. Oh, gosh. You think about it. Do I need to be a South African to love South Africa? I'm born here. I went to a South African school. I'm matriculated. But my parents are foreigners. So I must pack my bags and go. It's sensitive.
Yeah.
Psychologically, mental health, your mental health.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely
Yeah.
puts a strain. It's crazy.
I think it's such a sad situation to be in, especially for someone who's grown up and identifies as who's grown up with the culture of South Africa, who's grown up among South Africans. One would consider themselves South African, and their parents would have probably, if they've been in the country this long, probably had their documentation and all that, and then to be chased away because of xenophobia or any threats on their life and safety is absolutely awful. It's shattering, and like she said, she feels like her future's been stolen.
Shame. And she is just one of thousands
many
and
people.
thousands. Yeah. Harlan, how should young people respond when they hear hate speech? How should they respond? Should we also take that stick or should we also get all violent? And how should young people react?
Okay, hate speech concerning?
Hate speech, just in general. General hate speech.
Okay, I condone hate speech.
Condone it?
I mean,
condemn.
Condemn. Sorry.
See, he made a youthful mistake.
So I feel like violence is, in fact, like I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, violence is not the answer. 100%. You should be diplomatic with your words and approach any situation with care. But I feel like if you're gonna poke the bear long enough, it's gonna retaliate, and not in a negative, positive way.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the reality.
Sometimes I feel like diplomacy is the language that the Western world uses to keep Africa and the global South oppressed. It feels like sometimes it only benefits those in those countries who are pre-colonial or the previous colonizers of the world. And in a lot of ways, sometimes you do need to take action, and a lot of freedoms were fought. I mean, even the Americans fought for their own freedom. While we don't condone violence, we must understand that sometimes diplomacy is used as a means to keep us at bay, especially in the global South. That's just my shiny hat beliefs.
When you sit and you think about it, coming out of the box, there's so many dynamics to this. You can't just think on it on one opinion or one fact.
It's so
because
multifaceted.
Like you have the racism issue,
Yeah.
then you got immigration, then you got xenophobic, then you got employment. There's so many to it, so you can't label all of it as one
issue.
As
and
one
I feel
issue.
like it all gets lumped in and blamed on South Africa is just this and that, when it's such a multi-dimensional issue. You could sit for hours and try to unpack it, and I feel like there's a lot of oversimplification online. And while we don't condone, we condemn the actions, especially the extreme actions when it comes to violence and vigilantism. We don't want to now discredit or what would be the word? Invalidate the frustrations of people and their lived experience, especially when living in extreme poverty. Sometimes people may not do the best things out there, but they're trying to do something. And it sometimes can come across in one of the worst ways possible.
Jamie, if you had to choose one value for your generation, our generation, would it be justice, compassion, or accountability? And why? Tell us why. These are your views and
that's
opinions.
crazy. So you said justice, accountability, or compassion.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, all of those things are so important.
You're only allowed to choose one.
Wow. I feel
the both of you can join
I'll
up.
tell you the reason. So I feel
afterwards.
compassion, simply
I would've
because
said the same.
I feel that from compassion, only then we can get the other things. So only from compassion can we really learn to how can I say? Only from compassion can true justice be achieved, I feel. Because if you are going to remove compassion from it, then it's not just. It's completely unjust. But if there's compassion, then something can be just. And I feel that only when someone is able to be compassionate, not only with themselves, but with others, but especially with themselves, are they able to really hold themselves and others accountable. So I think that compassion, if you're going to make me choose, sits at the heart of the other two. So that's why I'd say compassion.
Okay. Liam?
I was going to answer along the same lines. I would say that you can't have the truest version of any of those things without the other.
100%.
I would say from just an upbringing, values and religious standpoint on my end, compassion would be a big one. We were always taught to welcome those in need and to help those who are destitute and never to turn a blind eye to anyone who is in need. So compassion plays a big role in that. And if you are able to see God in that person, and if you're able to see yourself in that person, then you're very easily able to act within compassion, because why would you not want to be compassionate towards someone whom you see yourself in? It's the minute that we alienate people and make them seem as if they are less than human or not like us, it makes it so easy to lack compassion for them. And when we lack compassion for ourselves on a personal level, we fail to be able to show compassion to others. So I would say compassion's a big one.
And Harlan, yes, compassion, accountability, justice.
Compassion. I mean, it's the common denominator between the three of us. I mean,
so the youth say go with compassion first.
Compassion. I mean, it speaks to Ubuntu, it speaks to unity, it speaks to that we are all one. I feel like if we can all gather on the common denominator of compassion and on looking to the future in terms of a way forward that isn't so negative, because if we all come together on a negative standpoint, of course, yes, our voices will be heard, but not from a good perspective. If we all stand with compassion and treat one another as human first, then our unity will be much stronger on a positive standpoint.
Sorry, you said Ubuntu means I am because we are.
Yes.
So how do we live that value while still demanding secure borders, accountability, and the rule of the law? How do we do it? How do we do that?
I think that it would be holding the necessary people accountable. That's what I think it's about. Because at the end of the day, I think that unfortunately it's gotten to a point of the situation where people who shouldn't be involved and shouldn't be doing things are getting involved because unfortunately the people who should have done something and should have put in certain systems aren't doing something. So I think accountability to those who should be doing something.
Leadership.
Ooh. Back to that point of compassion, and leads into this point. You can be compassionate, but you can still hold people accountable and you can still seek justice.
100%.
It just means we're not going to be volatile about this here. We're still going to enforce. Compassion doesn't mean you must be a doormat.
No,
you can't let people walk all over you.
100%.
But you can treat people like human beings.
100%.
And in terms of holding people accountable, we also need to go after those people who create the opportunity for illegal immigrants to take jobs and stuff like that. And not because of anything other than the fact that they exploit human labor. A lot of the time, people who are in the country illegally and who are working don't have the same rights, and they don't have the necessary platforms to report malpractices in the workplace or any form of abuses in the workplace. So those people are often taken advantage of for their labor. Maybe they're overworked, possibly underpaid, and exploited on all levels. So we also need to go after people who are exploiting that.
So a message came through while you were talking. Blaming foreigners is the easy answer and the easy way out, while corruption, unemployment, and poor leadership remains the real issues in South Africa.
100%.
And that's what's happening.
I mean, if we had 600 million to sort out for one day, imagine what we could have done multiple days before this became a problem with that 600 million. We could have thrown 600 million just like that.
Oh, God. We back in the day, we should talk like we are different from the other African countries in Africa. We don't have leaders who are stealing, who live the life while their people are just suffering, living in mud huts. But South Africa we've reached there. but we have a facade. Like when you think about it, now when everyone's being exposed for all the corruption, 63 million, 1 billion, 2 billion, gosh, and obviously our leaders were not upright, straight, and they were not correct. Harlan, if you could send one message to South Africa's leaders about migration and the youth, what would it be? This is coming from your heart. What message would you like to send?
Okay, this is just my opinion, but accountability. Accountability. If, like you said, if something could have been done years before, we wouldn't have reached this point. So accountability.
Yeah. You know, when apartheid got abolished, probably the last like maybe 10, 15 years after that, you always focused on unity, the rainbow nation.
Yes.
We had people who, we were all invited to draw the South African flag. I don't know whether you guys remember. We were asked, I know schools were asked children to submit the South African flags. What colors would you like? And they chose the flag which the youth drew. And I don't think many people know that. Right. And we focused on Ubuntu. We spoke about, we even had cartoons and movies, when you think about it, South Africans, you know, so many of them focusing on that love. And, you know, what was the common one? The Lion King.
Yeah.
Also, like, you know, you have so many different animals in the jungle, but they all work together. Yeah, there were other messages in the movie. Yeah, exactly. So, what lessons can young people learn from the African philosophy of unity, respect, and shared humanity?
I think there's a lot to be learned looking at our history and where we come from. Unfortunately, looking at where we are at today, it becomes a little bit more difficult for us to say, okay, yes, this is what you take out of it, because it kind of seems pretty contradictory, unfortunately. So I will say, and I will stick to it, because this is not all all one. As Harlan said, we all bleed the same blood, and this is what we stand for as South Africans. Other people who are saying other silly things and doing other things, that's not all South Africans stand for that.
Exactly. Well, again, you guys are youth leaders, y'all are involved, and y'all are the change. So real change doesn't begin in parliament, it begins with people. It begins with choosing respect over hatred, understanding over assumptions, and dialogue over division. Our diversity is not our weakness, it is our greatest strength. The future of South Africa isn't determined by where we come from, but by how we choose to live together. So the next chapter belongs to you, Jamie, Liam, Harlan, the youth. From Youth Frequency, Assalamu alaikum. Peace out.
Peace.
If you wanna look amazing, lady, you know what you gotta do right now. Cover up your beauty for the Almighty. You do